Hey dude, what's up?
Hi,
Playing.
I'm playing Populous on the Super Famicom.
See. What kind of game is it?
It's a god simulator.
Oh, like SimCity. That should be pretty fun then, right?
Yeah, it's so much fun. Look how much fun I'm having.
Hello everybody, Fortefyre here. Welcome to episode 4 of Fortefyre's Fyreside Chats. Today, we're talking about the jewel of all God mode games, known as
Populous.
or Populous. I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm assuming it's Populous. I have no clue about anything about this game. I've never played a game like it. I don't like playing games like it. That's kind of a lie. I do enjoy SimCity. But oh man. This one sucks. So, for me, there are certain kinds of games that I refuse to touch. I will review every game on this wall, and I will review any games that get on this wall. But as far as going out and buying games for me just to play solely for my entertainment, there are certain genres that I will not touch. 1. Racing games. I don't care if it's Mario Kart. That's another lie. I really enjoyed Mario Kart. Or Cruising the World. I used to have the steering wheel set for the Nintendo 64, and I loved it. Or Gran Turismo, or TT Superbikes, or Excite Bike. I don't like racing games. Gran Turismo, Midnight Club. Alright, I played a few racing games. If I had to pick a favorite one, it'd be Need for Speed Underground 1 and 2. But traditionally, I don't touch racing games. Second thing I don't touch. Sports games. Except for NHL and NCAA growing up. Those are the only ones that I've played with. Third, real-time strategies. This is one that I don't think I've ever really sat down and completed a match of. I've got a few of them myself. I've played Command & Conquer, and I don't like it. I don't like the isometric view. I don't like waiting for the computer to take its leisurely time. I don't know what Civilization would be considered, but that's probably the closest I would get to an isometric turn-based whatever. Just incredibly frustrating. That being said, growing up, I've never heard of Populous. I never heard of Populous in high school. I never heard of Populous until it came in the mailbox one day. I popped it in because I was like, look, this looks dope. I looked at the cover and I was like, this is a floating damn island. It's a floating island with a river of lava beneath it. And it's a Japanese title. So hell yeah. And it's an import. So I can't even read what it says on the front. But I was stoked to give it a try. So I did. And to my surprise, it sucks. And blows. But let's go back to 1990 and talk about this piece of steaming dog shit. So Populous started out as a computer game. It was made by Bullfrog, who, if you are unfamiliar with, made all of those knockoff CD games like Theme Hospital, Theme Aquarium, whatnot. They're the games you'd find in like the corner shelf in Circuit City, Staples, and Office Depot. Usually costs like $15. At some point, the developers of the game played a game called Zark. It was ported under the title of Virus. How are we going to make a game with an isometric layout where followers can build their own society and combat somebody else? And apparently at some point somebody walked up and was like a God game? And welcome to the God game genre. However, Peter Molyneux, I don't know how to say his name. He wanted money. So he did a hanky-panky special handshake with a company by the name of Electronic Arts. Now, I can't knock EA, I used to work for EA, but I'm not a big fan of how predatory they always were in the video game industry. But I digress. The partnership turned out great for them because they released the game on every damn platform that you could imagine, all the way from computer to Genesis. Now, the Super Famicom version came out in 1990. It was made by a company called Imagineer. Imagineer was always known for just doing pop culture stuff. They used to work for Nintendo a little bit, then they moved on to making like Hello Kitty, mobile apps, things that are really relevant in Japan. The American version was made by a company I love, Acclaim. Rest in peace, Acclaim Entertainment. You're lost, but never forgotten. So yeah, that's about all I got to say about it. Let's look at it. Alright, before I show you my copy of Populous, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a refresher. This is Street Fighter 2 Turbo. This is a Super Nintendo cartridge. 2 bolts on the front, divot right here. Pretty simple design. This, however, is the Super Famicom. It's got the divot right here, 2 bolts, pretty simple on the back. Now in size, they're about the same. It's a big difference from Famicom and NES games. This is cool. Alright, right here, this says,
Super Famicom,
which means,
Super Famicom.
this says Populous. Right there, that says,
Populous,
which means,
Gigantic piece of shit.
and artwork's actually pretty dope. So this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. It's an island that's floating, oh jeez. Come on, any day. Any day! Any day! Any day! Alright, so it's an island floating on a, abyss. But I think what's really cool is that there's a bunch of gods in the sky. And if you play the game, you'll see that you're playing as 2 deities that are going at each other. So a bunch of gods in the sky. Pretty simple. Alright, let's go and pop it in. Alright, so premise of the game. The story is pretty simple from what I've interpreted. There are 2 gods, or many gods, I don't know. And they're fighting to be the one true religion. So they're using divine intervention to guide these followers to destroy each other so that one religion will prevail. Pretty simple. What's not so simple is the control scheme, however, which I will gladly show you right now. So grab your handy dandy Super Nintendo controller and join along with me. D-pad moves the cursor. R plus D-pad moves it a little bit faster. L plus D-pad moves the screen one whole screen in the direction you're pushing. To be able to get your guys from point A to point B, a lot of times you're going to take place on 2 islands and you need to terraform to get there. So you need to manipulate the environment. You do that by pushing A, which raises it 1 whole unit. B lowers it 1 whole unit. Y, locate settlements that aren't castles yet. Raise and lower the land as needed to make a castle. L and A, raise 2 whole units and flatten. L and B, lower 2 whole units and flatten. Downgrades a castle to a settlement. Select the move the land power. Move the papal magnet. Settle. Gather then settle. LRA, earthquake. LRB, swamps. LRY, upgrade to a knight. It's actually really helpful. LRX, volcanoes. Start, pause, select, menu. After you learn the button combinations, the game's actually pretty simple to understand from a control standpoint. Then you gotta learn the overlay. But let's go ahead and start up the game so I can show you what it looks like. Alright, presented by Imagineer Co. Damn, that's a fast logo screen. Populous. 1989 Bullfrog, licensed from Electronic Arts. Cool. That's a screen you would see on an old MS-DOS game that they just poorly ported. Whatever. So this is the tutorial. And in case you're wondering, you can push all the buttons you want. You have to unpause the game first before the tutorial actually does anything. So in the top right, that is your mana bar. Pretty much wherever your arrow is, everything to the right you can't do, everything to the left you can do. So the up and down arrow is your terraforming, the magnet, or the papal magnet, is that cross thing. The 3 sound waves is an earthquake, immediately followed by swamp, then upgrade to night, volcano, flood, and then Armageddon. Basically the whole concept of Armageddon is that it just destroys everything. But you automatically win if you have more people. In the top left is your map, which is really super helpful because you are either the blue dots or the red dots. You can change it to decide if you want to be evil or good by clicking on the world in the right part. In the bottom left is your primary console that allows you to do settler interactions. The bottom right is your divine interventions and menus. So in the bottom left, the 4 things have brackets: the knight's head, the shield, the papal magnet, and the 2 swords. Those are find an item. So you're either finding a knight, you're finding your shield, you're finding a papal magnet, or you're finding where combat is. Everything with an arrow is an instruction to a settler. So the 2 swords is instructing settlers to go fight. The stick man is instructing to go gather. The papal magnet is instructing to find the papal magnet, and the flag is instruct to settle. The up and down arrow, like I said, is terraforming, and then the papal magnet is in the bottom left and allows you to move it. There's actually strategy in moving it because you can call all your settlers to the papal magnet, and if you ask them to fight, they'll fight the red guys that are there or the blue guys, depending on what team you're on. In the bottom right, those are all the natural disasters to include a night ship upgrade. So in the bottom left, earthquake, immediately followed by swamp Armageddon, night upgrade, flood, and I don't know what that little arrow thing does. I don't know if that increases the speed, just default, or if it does something else. The 3 Z's are pause. The music obviously turns off the music, which there is the same loop over and over again. Effects is your special effects sounds. The world is your global options, and then in the top right are the rules. So if you click on that, basically you could change the rules of the game. And that's pretty much it for the game, because it took me 24 minutes to do one level. And in case you're wondering how many levels are in this exquisite example of a game, 500. 500 levels, and there's no ending. Have fun. Pro tips. Pro tips. Populous. I got none. Don't play it. Nah, that's cruel. I can't say don't play it. I have to give you some sort of pro tip. Purchase the MS-DOS version. Play it on DOSBox. It's more aesthetically pleasing, it has cutscenes, and it has somewhat of an ending. That's all I got. If you're really dead set on beating it, I suggest you set aside a week straight, be patient, memorize your passwords, and Godspeed, because I have no clue, because I am not playing this game again. Let's do some ratings. Cart. It's simple. It's got some elements that are pretty cool. Go ahead and give it a 6 out of 10. Gameplay. Well, I mean, this is a RTS. This is the forefather of RTSs. Ultimately, the ability to port a computer game that solely uses a cursor to move on an isometric pattern, it's actually pretty impressive. So, even though the gameplay is actual trash, the programming behind it isn't too bad. If it was for me, I think I'd give it an 8 out of 10. But it's not for me. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 because at some point I would like to sit down and actually play it, even though I've talked shit about it all night. It's an old game. And to be honest, we probably wouldn't have a lot of what we had if this idea had not come out. Music! It is the same damn song looped for 500 levels, 3 out of 10. I give it a 3 out of 10 instead of a 2 out of 10 because there are some choral elements, which is really strange and haunting, but I like it. Art. For a 16-bit game that is a port of a computer game, it's impressive to see that they translated all the different terrains and landscapes so well. Because of this, I have to give it a 6 out of 10. Fun! It was more fun to make this video than it was to play the game. 2 out of 10. That leaves us with an overall 4.4, even. And fun fact, while I was making this video, my TV decided to explode. I guess the motherboard just gave out. So I'm not going to let it impact my production at all. I have a dual monitor setup, so I'll route all of my stuff through one TV. That way I can just capture my game footage and then we can work from there. I'm not going to give up on my hobby because of a minor setback. However, that does knock out almost all the RGBs. So I'm not going to be able to use any RGBs right now. That would be Sega CD, 32X, PS1, PS2, Dreamcast. Those would be out for a little bit. But I need to get an upscaler that works anyway. Speaking of upscalers, I bought this one off of Amazon. Tiny little feller who has, I don't know if you can see it, RGB on that side and then HDMI on this side. The issue is that it turned my games green. Like, it looked horrible quality. And I paid like, I think $14 for this. So if I were you and you wanted to do something like turning your RGB and HDMI, it looks like you have to spend some money. I like to do things cheap. I'm a cheap man. But I do have a second TV, but I don't know how it's going to record RGB. I mean, it's something. At least be able to watch it. That's it for today's episode. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, hit that subscribe button and shoot me a like. Also, down in the comment section below, tell me what you're playing and what I should be playing. Even though my TV's out of commission for a little bit, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop collecting video games. In fact, my retro game treasure box should be here relatively shortly. That being said, thank you for watching this video and letting me be a part of your day or night. Fortefyre, out.